Okay, folks, I wanted to make a video about using Zapier to connect your WooCommerce for WordPress or other stuff to QuickBooks Online. And when I started this project, I was like, oh, this should be pretty easy. I'll just connect it and send the information over, and it'll be great. And for the most part, that was true, except that there's one part of it, which was the taxes that were really annoying and then ultimately also inaccurate. So I want to make a video about configuring your Zap to work correctly between WooCommerce and QuickBooks Online, and I'll share my solution that I came up with. So if we look here at the Zap, I've got my order in WooCommerce. It triggers on when an order is created, and that's pretty easy to set up. But when it comes to creating the sales receipt, there's kind of a decent amount of nuance here. One, you can see, I've kind of created a find for the customer by first name, last name, got my email in here. I've included a bunch of other information that in the note that I found useful for troubleshooting. The big thing here, though, is this tax lines label. So when you click in this section, if you want to use like a QuickBooks Online value, you can only use one, which doesn't work if you have a cart with multiple items. And that was a really big problem. So what I ended up doing was using this value here that I set up in WooCommerce. So if you look at all the options and we look for tax lines, there's this tax lines ID value, which corresponds with the numerical IDs for different types of taxes in QuickBooks Online. Except the problem was that, and I still don't know why, but the IDs that were being sent for the items in the cart didn't actually match up with the corresponding tax code in QuickBooks Online. So what I actually did was, instead of having this tax be called GST PST, for example, which is what it is, it's a mix of GST and PST, I just called it 5. And if you go back and look at this, you'll see that 5 is the code, the numerical value for GST PST. And then I did the same thing, for example, for reduced rate. Instead of reduced rate being called just GST, for example, it's called 8. And that lines up with what it is in QuickBooks Online. And so by making that change there and basically using the label value in WooCommerce tax settings as like your identifier for the tax, you can get it to populate in QuickBooks Online correctly with like a per line tax value that matches the actual tax class of the product. The main downside for this approach, though, is that you end up with this weird thing where for the tax shown in the breakdown in your checkout, it'll show like 8 instead of GST. But for me, in terms of like creating accurate invoices in QuickBooks Online, it's worth it. And if you know of a better fix, please let me know and I'll adjust my approach. But this is a really frustrating problem I was trying to troubleshoot for a while, and the error messages you get from this process are really terrible too. So wanted to share it with people in case they were also struggling. So yeah, let me know what you think, and hopefully it helps you if you're in this situation.